Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are going to let all the attendees who are joining take 1 or 2 minutes just to let everybody in, and then we'll get started with our topic for today. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is a webinar on the Live Like You Love It Water Education Toolkit and Campaign. So this is basically a crash course. What is it? How can the toolkit be of benefit to your organization? I am Melissa Brassfield. I work with Colorado WaterWise doing administrative and project management, work closely with the Live Like You Love It committee, and support Colorado WaterWise and all the different activities that we have going on. With me today, I have Alyssa Quinn and Jessica Auerkirk. I'll let them introduce themselves and then we'll get going today.
Great. Thank you, Melissa. I am Alyssa Quinn, and I am a co-chair for Colorado WaterWise and also the Live Like You Love It committee chair.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Auerkirk. I am the owner of Evoke Communications, and I've been working with Colorado WaterWise for about 5 years now, helping to develop the new Live Like You Love It toolkit materials.
Awesome, thank you. So a couple of points during today's webinar, we are going to be doing some live polling. So we have a couple kind of introduction questions before we really dive into the materials for today. So there's some instructions here. If you go to the pollev.com and type in this access code, you'll be able to enter those live polling questions as we get going. So the first question is just kind of getting an understanding of who's here today. So curious to see where everybody is located across the state. So this should be pulling up as you guys get in and access and answer this. The percentages should hopefully change on here. And if the attendees are having issues or not seeing the poll, feel free to drop us a chat and just make sure that our technology is working today. Yes, I'll go back to the instructions real quick here. And I am also dropping this into the chat. There we go. So there's your access information, and I'll jump back to this location question. Uh-oh. Bear with us. It looks like we might be having some technical issues. Maybe we'll advance to the next question and see what's happened, see if that works better. So this next question, does your organization have an active water conservation outreach program? Looks like we've gotten at least a few responses here. Awesome. So it looks like, at least I don't see exactly how many folks have responded to this, but good to hear that everyone that's joining us today has an active outreach program for water conservation within their organization. So that's wonderful to hear. So this next question is just getting a little bit of understanding from the audience how familiar you all are with that Live Like You Love It campaign and toolkit. have you heard about the toolkit, but don't have access, don't know the details? You have access, but you don't use those materials, or maybe you do have access and you're currently using those materials. This will help us tailor some of our conversations a little bit later as we go through those materials. So it looks like a lot of you guys have heard of it, but don't know the details, which is perfect. You're in the right spot to learn a little bit more about that toolkit. Good to see that there's a few people who have access and are currently using them. We'll also go into how to better use those materials for some of you who aren't using them. And then if anyone has never heard of it, you're also in the right spot. You will learn all about it today. So with that, I just have a couple housekeeping items. You are going to be muted. If you guys have questions for us, feel free to drop those in the Q&A section and we'll address those. There is a recording of this webinar that we will be sharing after the event finishes today. So be on the lookout for that, or share that with your the rest of your team if they weren't able to join us today. And we will have some additional polling later on in the presentation today. So keep that polling tab open on your browser. I will turn it over to Alyssa to give a little bit of background on Colorado WaterWise and Live Like You Love It.
Great, thank you. So who is Colorado WaterWise? Colorado WaterWise is a community of water stewards, innovators, activists, and educators. So our mission is to really create tools, resources for water professionals. While you don't need to be a member to access some of our great information, as a CWW member, you will receive access to regional water efficiency experts, technical tools, professional networking, and a forum that fosters collaboration and innovation in water education and technology. So you can learn more about joining Colorado WaterWise if you're already not a member by visiting coloradowaterwise.org. So now I'll just give a little background about exactly what is Lily. So Live Like You Love It is a statewide education and outreach campaign. It began back in 2013 as a result of drought and a product of the 2012 Year of Water celebration. As a, excuse me, a member of the 2012 Year of Water celebration, it was very important for the information, education, and outreach efforts to continue on after that, after 2012. So it was created and maintained by Colorado WaterWise that this kind of unified message that could be used statewide was created. And so what we really did was create some materials that serve as an education and outreach campaign for water utilities, big and small. The toolkit includes graphics, ads, templates, social media, written content, and each year we put money into the toolkit to add new information. We really try to make sure that we're staying on top of the topics that are most important to all of us and our customers, to make sure that the material we're creating is relative and important to you all. So active Colorado WaterWise members currently have full access to the toolkit at the $650 level or higher. So Lily taps into kind of the emotional connection of Colorado. When we first started this campaign and this outreach toolkit, we wanted to make sure it was something that people really felt. We did a lot of research and surveys throughout the state to really find out how people felt about their water, what they knew about their water, what they felt like the most important topics about water were. And what we found out is that people here in Colorado really do love water. They care about it. They love it for recreation. They understand the importance of it. And so what we came out is that, live like you love it. That's something that we all feel here in Colorado very strongly about. So 3 of the core principles are conserve, care, and commit to the critical resource that we have here. The conserve part is obvious. So we have information that is for indoor and outdoor conservation. The care part is to kind of hit on the wastewater side, the stormwater side, just making sure that we're caring about the water resources that are out there, making sure we're protecting our rivers and streams and all of our water resources. And then to commit to learn and educate yourself more about water and where it comes from and how you can conserve it and care about it. So again, some of the main components of the toolkit are the messaging, graphics, and we have a really robust communications toolkit. So again, here later on in the presentation, Jessica will go through exactly what materials are included in your toolkit and how you can access them. But everything that is in the toolkit is co-brandable. So there's a spot for you to put your utility or company's logo right on everything that we have created and just hand it out as if it's your own and you did it yourselves. That's exactly what it's there for. So Lily Toolkit currently represents, we've put in probably as an organization over $100,000. And so when you think about what you're getting for just your membership fee, it's a really robust package that we feel like is, you know, a huge benefit to utilities and of all sizes who just don't have the resources to create their own material. So I will go ahead and pass this over to Jessica, and she will start going through exactly what is in the toolkit.
Thanks, Alyssa. As Alyssa just mentioned, we have over the course of the past many number of years developed a huge variety of Lily Toolkit materials that are accessible at your fingertips as a Lily member or as a Colorado Waterwise member at the 650 level and above. And there's materials there that are suitable for every type of communication channel or platform that you have. So I'm just going to take this next portion of our presentation here to go through what all is in the toolkit and give you a little sampling of some of the different materials you can find there. So to start off, we have materials that are available for print, for digital, and for social media. So basically every type of channel you can think of. We have invested time and energy to making all of our materials ADA compliant and accessible. And we have also invested in translating all of the materials to Spanish. So if you have Spanish speaking audiences, don't worry, we've got something for them too. So at a broad level, what is in the toolkit? Well, we have a whole logo and graphic icon library that has everything from the Lily logo to little icons that you can use in your communications. We have graphics and infographics that go into a little bit more depth on different water-related and conservation topics. We have a number of fact sheets that dive deeper into different conservation areas such as landscaping or native landscaping or water-wise irrigation or indoor water conservation, things like that. We have written content that can be used on your website, in your emails and newsletters. Or you can use it, repurpose it to make your own new materials. Those typically come with texts of varying lengths on different topics, such as the value of water, and come with accompanying graphics that you can use and make your own. We also have a huge library of social media content. There are social media content calendars for each year, as well as posts on hundreds and hundreds of different social media posts on different topics. And those include hashtags, graphics, visuals, and coming soon links where to get those images on your own if you don't want to use the Lily branded version. In addition to that, we have some templates for things like giveaways, stickers, folders, t-shirts, that kind of thing. We have a robust Live Like You Love It website that has all sorts of information, and you can direct folks to that site for information on how to care, commit, and conserve. We have also created some short videos kind of animated graphic style videos that go through different concepts. They're, maybe 30 seconds to 90 seconds in length, and you can share those on your social or on your website. We also have advertisements in various sizes, shapes, and forms that you can use on, in print publications, digital publications, website banners, bus ads, pretty much anything you can think of. If you want to jump down to the next slide. All right, so next I'm just going to show you in a little bit more detail some of the items that are in the toolkit. So this slide shows you a sampling of our fact sheets. When each year, as Alyssa mentioned, we ask our Colorado Waterwise membership, what materials do you want us to create this year? It's all member driven. It's not someone, sitting behind closed doors, just masterminding this all. It's all completely member and Lily committee driven. So this is just 3 of the fact sheets that we offer in the toolkit. The first one is on Waterwise landscaping, and I'll add, you can use these in digital or print form. They're all co-brandable, again, available in English or Spanish. The Waterwise landscaping one, for example, dives a bit deeper into how to incorporate Waterwise landscaping principles at home. So it talks about things like compost and fertilizer, grouping plants by their water need, how to use drip irrigation, replacing a portion of your lawn with native and drought tolerant plants. Things like that. And they're all 2-sided. So for this one, the back has information on like the top 5 reasons to convert from grass to Waterwise landscape. The next one was one of the original series that we did for Live Like You Love It. And that was this 14er series. As you know, the 14ers are pretty famous here in Colorado. So it's a series of, I believe, 4 fact sheets that are on different topics like 14 indoor water saving tips, 14 outdoor water saving tips, water quality, and maybe there's one on value of water. I forget what the 4th one was. This other one that we're showing here is another recent one on how to water your yard. It's basically like irrigation principles and best practices here in Colorado. So it touches on things like cycle and soak, different watering hours, the typical post-dusk, pre-dawn recommendations, checking for leaks and overspray, and, directing folks to their water utility website for specific water restrictions and watering guidelines, as well as possible rebates on water efficient technology. So again, this is just 3 of the probably 15 fact sheets we have in the toolkit that are all on very specific topics that are the topics generated, by our membership. If you want to skip to the next one, thank you. So here we can see just a little sampling of our social media content. As I mentioned, we have annual social media content calendars that outline monthly themes and topics for each month that tie into those themes. And then for that month, we have a whole set of social media posts that you can literally just copy and paste to your social media accounts if you so desire, or tweak a few words, add your own branding here or there. And each post has an accompanying visual that we've created to go along with that caption. I will note that we have added the Live Like You Love It logo to those images solely for copyright purposes. When we purchase an image, we only have permission to use it on behalf of our organization. So what we're starting to do now is include links to where you can purchase that image yourself for a nominal fee if you want to use that photo, but without the Live Like You Love It branding on it. And again, we come out with new content, social media content every year, and the topics are all generated by the Lily Committee and also by the Colorado Waterwise membership. And skip to the next slide. Thank you. Next here, we just have a sampling of other items that are in the toolkit. The social media content and the fact sheets are 2 of our kind of bigger, broader categories that we have a whole range of content under, but we also have all sorts of different materials that range from what you see here on the left is a co-brandable restaurant and brewery kids activity placemat that talks all about water conservation and water education. And that's something that you can, add your logo to and print off and distribute to your local restaurants and breweries. On the right, I think we have a sampling of some water bill stuffers. We, over the years, have created a couple water bill stuffers on a couple different topics that, pertain to water conservation, such as efficient irrigation or how to use fertilizers properly while protecting our water supplies. We also recently developed a whole HOA WaterWise landscaping and irrigation toolkit that has materials for the HOA board members, the property manager, the landscape contractor, and also for the resident. So while we don't have time to show you every single thing in the toolkit, I would recommend you take some time to browse through the toolkit and see what all's in there for yourself. Just a couple other items to mention. Again, this is like one of our little videos here that we created on drought, when that was a big topic. So that's it. That's about it. If you have ideas for materials that you would like to see in the toolkit or that would be helpful for your organization, we always invite and encourage you to submit those ideas, and chances are we can make something to address that need. So I'll turn it back to Melissa, who will tell you how to access the toolkit materials.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alyssa and Jessica, for that recap of the program and all the materials that are included in that toolkit. So like Alyssa mentioned earlier, the toolkit, the entire full toolkit, is available to all active Colorado WaterWise members who are at that 250 level or higher. So that's basically all of our industry and manufacturer partners, as well as all of the utility members. So if you don't have access to the materials yet, we do have a use agreement that's really just making sure that there's a clear understanding of how you can use those materials. So you can find that on our website. I'm also dropping a link into the chat right now. So if you haven't used that or filled that material or that form out, feel free to go to that link, fill the form out, and then you can email it to admin@coloradowaterwise.org. All of the materials are hosted on a Dropbox account, so you'll receive access through the Dropbox. If you have issues with Dropbox for whatever reason, feel free to reach out to us and we can work on getting an alternate option out there, but that is where we house all of our information currently. And then we do have a little bit of a recap here for where you can begin. So we have, like I had said, everything is on Dropbox. They're organized into folders. So on the right-hand side there, you can see how the types of materials are separated into folders. So if you're going in here and you're like, I need a bill insert, you can go straight to that folder and find that bill insert that you're looking for certain topics. As we've said a couple times, all of the materials are able to be co-branded, so we can help you with that if you run into issues. We're also available for assistance and answering any questions. We are more than happy to meet with you guys, have conversations, virtual meetings, and walk you guys through how to better use these materials. Don't be shy. We are happy to help. And then we do also have an awesome outreach guide. So this goes into a lot of detail about all the different materials that we have available, how you can use them within your organization, and just is a really great resource for you all. And I think, Jessica, you were going to touch on a little bit more of the co-branding and examples of materials.
Sure. Yeah, when we create our materials, we try to keep in mind that some organizations may want to add their own utility or organization logo. So for each file that we create, there's two different versions. There's the co-brandable version, with a spot for your logo and utility or organization website. And then there's also just the Live Like You Love It branded version if you don't want to co-brand it. If you need assistance co-branding those, because a lot of the files that we create, are professionally created graphic design files in Illustrator or InDesign. If you don't have that software and you need help, we are available to help you. You can just reach out to us, and I can work with you to get your utilities info co-branded on the materials. So I think we have just a little sampling here of how that works in terms of, space for your logo, website, that kind of thing. But just know that you have the choice on every material if you want to co-brand it or not. And I think here we have just some examples, some additional examples of how Colorado Waterwise members have co-branded and utilized the Live Like You Love It toolkit materials. On the left here, we have some social media posts that one of our members shared on their channels. I believe the top center one with Greeley is a website feature that they included. The photo at the bottom, it shows one of our members utilizing our printed materials at a community event. And then on the right, we have displayed use of some of our different graphics and images. Oh, and actually one thing I would like to call out that was not shown in the toolkit materials sampling is just last year, we actually hired a professional photographer who happens to work in water conservation to take a whole library of professional photos that we can use. Because as you may know, it's very difficult to find good stock photos of things like water-wise irrigation concepts and water-wise landscaping. So we do have a whole library of beautiful new photos that all of our members can use with no watermark, no photo attribution required. Photos showing like really beautiful water-wise and native plants, drip irrigation, all that kind of good stuff.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jessica. I am going to advance and pull back up the interactive polling instructions. So we're going to go back and do some polling for you all. I'm just dropping into the chat that access information again for everyone. So this first question, who is your target audience for water conservation outreach? So there's a couple options here. That's single family residential, multifamily residential, HOAs, commercial, industrial, institutional, landscapers, property managers, and then a category that we added in here, kind of underrepresented customers. That could be a handful of different folks, whether that's renters or others that are included in that. It looks like the majority of everyone is really focused in on that single family residential category, with some focusing more on the multifamily, and HOAs is also tacking on a few. This is helpful for us also as we, like we've said, kind of look at how and what new materials we're adding each year. So definitely engaging more with HOAs. We understand a lot of utilities are doing a lot more communications with those organizations. So that's helpful to know that breakdown. Okay, so then this next question talks about the format of materials. So what format of materials would be the most useful to your organization? These are all, like we've talked about, kind of the different types of materials that we have for within the toolkit existing. So just trying to understand what would be more helpful in your outreach efforts. Definitely looks like social media content is helpful. Fact sheets and infographics. And if you guys have, if any of the attendees have questions about any of the materials or want to add anything else into their responses here, any other ideas that we may not have captured for information or types of materials that feel free to drop those into the chat and we can make notes of those. Awesome. So we'll go ahead and advance to the next question here. So we have heard over the years that some organizations or individuals have struggled with the toolkit materials. So if that is you, we would love to know kind of what roadblocks have you experienced in trying to use these toolkit materials? Do you have issues accessing those materials with the co-branding opportunities? Is there just some brand misalignment? Do you have limited staff time or the cost is a hindrance? Curious to see what everybody is feeling on that. So yeah, staff time is, everybody's only got so many hours in a day. I think we can all understand that.
If I can
Okay,
just
looks
add
like
a quick comment
Yeah.
here.
Mhm.
For those who might be, who have experienced trouble accessing the materials, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and we can give you a quick rundown of how to get into the toolkit, how to download the materials, all that good stuff. And same thing with staff time. If you're running into challenges like trying to customize the materials for your organization or whatever that may be, we want to know and we are here to help you. We do have time budgeted for assisting members with using the Lily Toolkit materials, so don't be shy.
Great. Thanks, Jessica, for adding that in. It's definitely something we love to help our members work out those issues. Okay. Next question that we have here. Does your organization utilize any bilingual materials in your outreach strategies? So this is yes, no, or you're not currently, but it's something that your team has discussed and would like to start doing. As we've discussed, we do have all of the materials available in both English and Spanish. We have heard from a small group that there might be some interest in having some additional languages, but definitely English and Spanish is that predominant need right now. And there's a question that came into the chat here that we can, I don't know, Jessica and Alyssa, if we want to hold that question about how much have the materials changed until we get through all of these, or if we wanted to go ahead and chat through that.
Yeah, I don't mind taking a stab at that. We are constantly creating and adding new materials to the toolkit. It's not a once a year drop and it's done for the year. For example, right now we're working on the social media content. We have the calendar that just got approved by the Live Like You Love It committee that outlines our monthly themes and topics. And then also just finalized the April social media posts, and we're jumping on the May, June, and we'll be rolling those out in the toolkit throughout the year as they're developed. We also have plans in the works for a couple new items as well that I don't want to spill the beans on quite yet, but just know that we're always adding new materials.
Great. Thanks, Jessica, for tackling that one. Okay, so this next question builds on that last one about what languages would be the most useful for your customer outreach. We've definitely heard English and Spanish, but then are there other languages that we might be missing or that you guys really have a large population of within your area? Yep, I think we're seeing a lot of the English and Spanish. I don't think Chinese is one that we have seen or heard about in the past. I think in the past we had a response for Vietnamese language translations. So that Chinese one is the new one for us. Wonderful. Okay. So then just to get some feedback from you all that have done some bilingual outreach to your customers, what have been some successes and challenges that you've had with sharing those materials with your customers? And I know these written ones take a little bit longer to type in the responses. So, okay, funding is probably more on the challenges side. Definitely having the cost of translation can sometimes be a hindrance for organizations. So that's part of the reason why we went ahead and translated all of the materials ourselves, just to be able to do that cost effectively for you all. Yep, ensuring appropriate translation across all dialects. That's a tough one. I know when I've done Spanish translations and worked with translators, there's formal Spanish, conversational Spanish, and everything in between. So that's definitely a tough part. And then validating the translations. Yep. Yeah, and understanding how to get those materials out to your customers can also be a challenging part. But the success, including a huge portion of your population, that's a great part, and why we want to be continuing to create and share these bilingual materials. Okay. So that was the last of our interactive polling questions. So feel free, if you have any other questions, drop them in the chat or the Q&A. We do have one coming in that's asking about for non-water utility organizations, if there's how you would fit into the membership structure. So we didn't have a slide on this necessarily, but I can share some information. In addition to those 3 small, medium, and large utility memberships, we do also have a membership level it's titled industry and manufacturer. It's kind of I don't want to say catch-all group, but that could be an area for non-utility members or organizations that want to join. And then the other thing to touch on that we haven't included is if we do have a basic membership level that is $350, where you would get a very, very small sampling of the Lily Toolkit. It's 2 or 3 fact sheets, I think 1 ad and a logo. So it's definitely not the entire toolkit, but that is a small sampling that those basic members do have access to as well. But those are the membership levels that we have available that give you the full access. And the lowest level is the $650 annual membership. Just checking the chat to make sure that we answered those. Any other questions from attendees? Or anything from Jessica or Alyssa that you wanted to add that we may have forgotten about, or any other feedback that we'd want?
Sure. I just wanted to also add, the Lily Committee is always open and welcome to new committee members. So if you think that this is something that you would love to be a part of and help create some of these different materials, please feel free to reach out to us, to myself or Melissa, and join the committee. It's a great committee. We have a lot of different members from different kind of across the metro area on there, but we're always looking for more feedback, more input, help, coming up with the content and the information. reviewing the materials that are being created. So again, if it's something that you would like to be a part of, we would open that up to you as well.
Only one thing I would add as well is that our materials are not just for Colorado Front Range utilities. You know, there's such a broad range of topics that we have materials available on that are suitable for agricultural water users, for you know, mountain communities, for Western Slope, for plains, pretty much everywhere. There's, regardless of where you are in the state of California and what your organization type is, there'll be multiple items that you can use in that toolkit. And we're always, again, open to all new ideas and suggestions for content, for topics, for format. So thank you.
And I'll just add one final thing, unless we get any other questions. We have not sent one out this year, but I know we've done past surveys to our members in the past. And that is in addition to the interactive feedback that we got today during the webinar. That is another way that the committee and Colorado WaterWise hopes to hear back from our members about what materials are really helpful, what topics are most relevant. We don't want to be creating materials that aren't helpful and useful to you and your organization. So I know sometimes it can be hard to sit down and do a survey. We try to keep them as short and succinct as possible. But when you see those come across, it's super helpful for us as an organization, for you guys to be filling those out so that we can really tailor that toolkit materials to you and your organization. We did get one question in. What about resources focused on rural residential, individual well supply instead of municipal district supply?
That is definitely not something that we currently have available in our toolkit, but again, we would be open to creating something if that's needed by our members, by you. You know, what we've done in the past with some materials on topics that maybe we're not quite as familiar with as the municipal water use, and is, you know, getting content from our members and then taking that content and putting it into a fact sheet or a social media post and having Jessica just design that. So again, if there's information that you have or topics that you need for your specific situation in your community, please let us know. We are happy to help create those for you. And you know, we are not experts in in all of these areas. So again, that's where we turn to our members for assistance in the content of some of this material.
Awesome. Well, I don't see any other questions coming in. I just wanted to say thanks again for joining us. We will be sharing, like I said earlier, a recording of this so you can go back and have that information on how to get to the materials. I'll also be sharing the link of that use agreement, so you'll have that in your inbox along with the recording and the slides that you can share with other members of your team who might not have been able to join us. Thanks again, and we look forward to hearing and seeing all of what you guys are doing with the toolkit materials.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.